Valheim will never be the same, revamping the combat system with a new adrenaline mechanic, reworking its forsaken powers, and added all kinds of new content in creatures, weapons, and trinkets, and way more in its brand new Calls to Arms update. Kicking things off, 2 new creatures were added in the Bear and Vial, and another existing creature got a big overhaul. The bear can be encountered in the Black Forest and appears to pack a serious punch and may rival the troll in terms of fear it will put into players. Defeating the bear will give you his hide, meat, paw, and a chance at his trophy. The meat can be cooked on a campfire or iron cooking station, making for a nice, quick, healthy food, but it is not included in any other food recipes at this point. The other recipes will be used to craft a brand new armor and weapon, as we will get into in a moment, but also a bear rug, which is the first carpet to also serve as a seat. Much worse are the Vial, which appear to be an undead version of the bear, but these found in the plains and appear to only spawn at night. Defeating them will give you the same hide and meat, but also the Vial ribcage and a chance at their trophy. Each of these creatures do have a chance to upgrade to 1 and 2 stars, and weirdly seem allied to each other, despite the bear I believe being part of the Forest faction and Vial undead. Neither of these are tameable, unfortunately. Before getting to the new armors crafted with the new loot, the Ghost got a shocking visual overhaul, looking way better. But that wasn't all, as finally the creature has a loot pool in a trophy and ectoplasm that we will put to good use shortly. The first of the 2 armor sets is the bear armor, composed of the loincloth, headdress, and patterns of the bear necklace, which require hide, blueberries, and a bear trophy to collect the full set, which I strongly recommend you do considering its set bonus. This armor will likely enable a bit of a glass cannon build, making you 25% weaker to all physical damage, but more than make up for it with 30% health regen, 15% stamina regen, and a 10% increase to your slash and chop damage. Second is the Vilebone set, made up of the Vilebone cage chest piece, drapes leggings, and visage helmet. This armor serves as the natural upgrade from the bear with a similar set bonus, but this time giving an increase to blunt and pierce damage, but also buffs health regen by 20% and stamina regen 40%. A single piece of clothing was also added to Hilder's shop and is available without delivering any chests in the Sweat Band, which appears not to do anything aside from make you look like a stud. Before diving into the 18 new weapons, you may have noticed item stands got a buff and you have new ways to style your hair. Firstly, 3 new hairstyles can now be chosen in your character creator, not to mention 5 new beards to choose from. Item stands got some quality of life enhancements, now requiring you to hold interact to remove items from them, and some items can now have their orientation changed. On the left of the screen are the items that can now have their positions changed while on the stand, and these items on the right are ones that have been added to the pool of items that can now be mounted. Of the 18 new weapons added, only half of them are really real, but more on that in a moment. As part of this update, both a Battle Brother and Archery target were added. The Battle Brother will require the ectoplasm from the ghost we saw earlier, and once built, will bob around, attack you if nearby, and allow you to attack him to test your weapons, and yes, you can level your skills against him. The archery range functions similarly, but with ranged weapons giving you a score from 1 to 10 based on how close you are to hitting the bullseye. A score of 10 is harder than you think, so hard that I nearly didn't believe it was possible. Arrows will be collected here and can be retrieved once done. Like your buddy, archery and crossbow skills can be leveled by shooting the target. To use on these dummies, as well as your Viking pals, 9 dummy wooden weapons of most classes were added that deal little damage, but will make for some fun collectibles out there for the completionists among us. The wooden sword can be crafted at the workbench, while all others must be found within chests across the world. The mace I found inside a Draugr village in the meadows, spear in a Black Forest tower chest, sledge in a chest near Draugr spawners in the swamp, battle axe inside the chest of an abandoned cottage in the mountains, Akir in the plains both inside a sealed tower and fueling village chest, and greatsword inside the Mistlines infested mines. The other 2 in the knife and axe I could not find for the life of me, and after searching the Ashlands and everywhere I could think, I gave up and had to spawn them in. If you found them in your world, let me know in the comments below. Aside from the joke weapons, a brand new class of weapon were added in blob bombs, of which there are 5 varieties. After defeating the Elder, you'll be able to purchase corked vials and use these vials combined with ingredients found in various biomes at a workbench to craft blob summoning weapons. In the swamp, you can summon blobs or oozers with the poison and elite poison blob bomb. The mountains, a brand new creature in the frost blobs that drop crystal. Plains, a tar blob bomb summoning growths. And 5th, in the Ashlands, as you might expect, a lava blob from the blob bomb lava. These are really fun new tools in our toolbox that could be used to help farm resources or distract our foes. And yet they have nothing on the next 4 weapons added to the game in this patch. Finally, our prayers have been answered in that 2 new fist weapons have been added to the game in the Black Forest Paws of the Bear and the Plains Vilebone Maul Claws. Naturally, these will be a product of the new Bear and Vile and will make the fist weapons much more viable and pair nicely with their corresponding armor sets. In addition to those, another neglected weapon class in Battle Axes has received support, adding a new axe to both the Plains and Mistlands in the Black Metal Battle Axe and Skull Splitter. Both of these have the same moveset as the Battle Axes you know and love. The Splitter, in particular, is easily the nicest looking axe Irongate has ever produced. And it doesn't stop there for two-handed weapon enjoyers, as the movement speed penalty using both two-handed axes and hammers has been reduced from a 20% movement speed penalty to 15%. Better yet, tower shields received an even bigger buff, now down to a 10% movement speed penalty compared to the previous 20. I've long criticized these weapon and shield types, and finally they may just be viable. Blocking also got a huge upgrade, with parrying, or otherwise known as perfect blocks, will now consume 0 stamina. You heard that right, 0. In my opinion, this might be a little broken for the most talented Vikings, but we'll see how it pans out. Further, dodging got a massive buff, as well as a new skill being added. When successfully dodging an attack you otherwise would have been hit by, an audible whoosh sound will be heard, and you will be returned a small percentage of your stamina. By increasing this skill, you will reduce the stamina required to dodge from about 10 down to 7 at level 100. Third, and perhaps most transformative of all, is a change to hitboxes against enemies on slopes. Going forward, hitting enemies should be drastically improved, especially beneficial in biomes like the mountains and Mistlands, and making my beloved spear even better. You can even hit corpse piles with a spear now, amazing! Bone piles too, which can now also spawn in brand new meadows POIs in these tiny little battle arenas. Rumor has it, only 5 of these can spawn in any given seed, and will serve as another rare meadows point of interest, like Draugr villages. Next up, and before getting to the best part of this patch and brand new mechanics in Trinkets, a huge overhaul was made to the game's Forsaken powers, with each of them being improved, with one arguably receiving a nerf. Plus, their descriptions have been expanded with more detail. First is Eikthyr, which has expanded its 60% reduction in stamina usage beyond running and jumping to include swimming. Second is the Elder, which now, in addition to increasing your damage while woodcutting, will also deal more damage mining with a 60% increase to both. A welcome and I think appropriate change. Furthermore, it will also give a nice 30% boost to your health regeneration. Third is Bowmass, who I think was slightly nerfed, but you'll have to let me know in the comments below. Going forward, it will give you a 25% reduced damage to all physical types, down from a 50% reduction. To compensate for the nerf, you'll receive a 100% reduction in block stamina usage and receive 5 stamina back when successfully blocking. Motor got perhaps the biggest glow up of all, with 300 increased carrying capacity and a 50% frost resistance added to the existing constant tailwind while sailing. This power is just pure awesome now for any explorer. Fifth is Yagluth, who is easily the most eclectic of the bunch, now giving a 50% reduction in lightning damage, plus 25 to your farming skill, and a 10% increase to your overall damage output. This power now has a bit of everything, but perhaps the best part is the increase to your farming skill that, when combined with the harvest clothing, will go crazy. Sixth is the Queen, who retained her 100% increase to item regeneration, but now instead of mining efficiency taken by the Elder, will reduce stamina consumption by sneaking to 0 and give you a 50% reduction to poison. Like Yagluth, this one is a bit of a hodgepodge. Lastly, Fader will reduce inflicted stagger by 50%, provide 50% reduced damage from fire, and easily best of all is a 100% increase to adrenaline gain. To explain, adrenaline is the brand new combat focus mechanic that, paired with any of the game's 13 trinkets, will give insane buffs. Going forward, whenever hitting an enemy, triggering your Forsaken power, executing a perfect parry, block, or dodge, your adrenaline bar will fill while you have a trinket equipped. The magnitude of the damage you deal appears to fill the bar faster, and parries seem especially productive. Once full, you will get a buff based on the trinket that will display in the top right of your screen. Even nuttier is that these don't have a cooldown. As long as you're dealing enough damage and nailing your parries or dodging, you can pretty easily string adrenaline triggers together. Keep in mind though that the bar will dissipate as you leave combat. In total, there will be 13 trinkets for you to acquire, with 2 unlockable per biome starting in the Black Forest, with the Ocean offering a single one, with all requiring a level 1 workbench to craft, assuming you have the ingredients. First, in the Black Forest is the Heart of the Forest that will give you a 25% health regeneration buff for a full 60 seconds, requiring 50 adrenaline to charge. Second, and my personal fave for the biome, is the Bronze Pendant, increasing stamina regeneration by 25% for a full minute, also costing 50 adrenaline. Moving into the swamp, you have the Iron Brooch, which will give you a boost of 50 health and 20 armor for 30 seconds, needing an increased 65 adrenaline. Second is the Nimble Anklet, will boost your movement speed by 15%, giving you 50 stamina and lasts for half a minute after accumulating 60 adrenaline. The Single Ocean Trinket is the Fins of Destiny, which naturally boosts swimming speed by 50% and swim stamina drain by 80% for a massive 2 full minutes and only needs a measly 10 adrenaline. I can only imagine this paired with the Drought of Vanadir. The Mountain starts with the Crystal Heart and functions similarly to Bone Mass's Forsaken Power, giving 25% reduction from all physical damage for 50 seconds, but does take a whopping 80 adrenaline. Wolfsight, on the other hand, is more aggressive, with bows and spears giving plus 20 to both those skills and a 10% buff to pierce damage for 30 seconds for 55 adrenaline. The Plains is where Trinkets get spicy, starting with the Evasion Mantle, which, as its name implies, reduces block stamina, increases your parry bonus by 50%, and ups your dodge skill by 20 for a whopping 2 minutes for only 60 adrenaline. I think this one is foolish, and I think will definitely get nerfed. For the club enjoyers out there, the Bracelets of the Brave give you 100 health, raise your club skill by 20, and blunt damage by 10% for 1 minute, and a surprising 85 adrenaline. The Mistlands naturally yields our first magic trinket in the Pulsating Earrings, which will be a must craft for mages, bumping up Iter regen by 25% for 60 seconds, requiring a reasonable 65 adrenaline. On the other hand, the Resounding Shackle looks excellent for sword and axe players, giving 100 stamina and a 10% increase to slash damage for a minute, using a surprising 75 adrenaline. Of course, the Ashlands has to outshine the Mistlands with the Jormungandling, giving 100 Iter and an incredible boost to both blood and elemental skills for 60 seconds, requiring a reasonable 70 adrenaline. Considering how tough it is to level blood magic, I think this is nuts. Brimstone, by comparison, feels a little vanilla, just giving 100 health and stamina and needing a massive 100 adrenaline to trigger. Overall, Trinkets seems sweet, but will likely be rebalanced before its formal release out of the public test branch. They do take another inventory slot, but fortunately, you can wear your strength belt with it despite not being able to wear multiple trinkets at once. Plus, most require trophies and otherwise useless items where we now have a great place to spend them, which I truly appreciate. And if you learned something in this video, I guarantee you'll learn something in this one, and make sure you like and subscribe to Snazzy Games to stay up to date on all things Valheim.